It is now time for Ohio Fighting Championships 23. Welcome, fans. Streaming live on GoFightLive.tv. This is Ryan Cavanaugh with my partner, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Mr. Darren Branch. And Darren, OFC 23, we know what to expect. They always deliver heavy volume, hot action, very competitive bouts, as we've come to expect from OFC.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about the main event tonight. I'm excited to see Danny Korbel and Vladimir Kazbekov get in the cage and see who's the best, get the belt.
They're going to decide the bantamweight title here, amateur title. It's Danny Korbel, the champ, taking on Vlad Kazbekov from Team Ascension up in Ontario. And Darren, what does Kazbekov have to do to take the belt away from Korbel?
I think what Vladimir needs to do is demonstrate a technical superiority. Donnie's got a lot of experience, he's a very game guy, and he's ready to compete. But Vladimir possesses maybe a more refined skill set. If he can demonstrate that, that belt might be going back to Ontario.
But he's got to work for it. One of your favorite fighters, Danny Korbel, with the title, putting it on the line tonight. How does he retain here for the hometown fans?
I think he needs to move a lot. He needs to move and keep the stiff jab in the face of Vladimir. If he can keep this guy from creating a grappling environment, he might be able to keep his strap.
Real quick, before we get started with live action, I want to take a look at the co-main event. This is a heavyweight amateur #1 contenders match. Two hard-hitting guys, Will Duffy, Aaron Garrett. Darren, break it down for us.
Well, you've got two guys that want to throw hands. A lot of striking involved in this fight here. Two big guys who like to throw hands. I think it could be a short fight.
Stick around. Don't go get your popcorn. Keep your eyes glued when Duffy and Garrett hit the cage. That's our co-main event. We've got that and much more. It's OFC 23, and it starts right now. And when I say right now, we're taking a look at the first two fighters. It's Jake Miller from Ohio taking on the lone Michigander on the card, Ronald Bobo Jr. We send it up to the third man of the broadcast, tonight's MC for the evening, Mr. Nick Hahn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the fighter out of the red corner, Jake Miller.
Welterweight action to kick off OFC 23. Jake Miller. The machine, Jake Miller. There's a good look at Zach Cook. There he goes. Zach Cook always can find the camera. Can Zach Cook? He was part of the main event of OFC 22, a fan favorite here. As we await Jake Miller, and Miller comes in with an 0-2 record, looking to get his first win, Darren.
Absolutely. He's training with a very good camp. Grove City Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a reputable school. A long-time jiu-jitsu practitioner, Dave Frittage, runs that place. He's a black belt. So he's got experienced guys around him guiding his career. So important at the amateur level to have that guidance. A lot of times you come to an amateur event and you'll find a lot of independent fighters. Not a lot of independent fighters tonight. This guy coming out, rocking his patch, demonstrating that he's proud of where he's training.
And Jake Miller was scheduled to fight at OFC 22 in October. He got ready, he trained. The fight did not materialize, so he technically has had a little bit of a longer camp. Speaking of OFC 22, as we see the guys from Grove City BJJ, they had an outstanding night. Clean sweep. They showed off the ground game as well as their hands. A very well-rounded team, and I'm excited to see Jake Miller and the development he's made from training with the guys over at Grove City BJJ. And it's Jake also got moved up the card, so that's a bit of a change. You sometimes, Darren, as a fighter, you're anticipating being a little later. Now, first fight out of the gate.
Absolutely. Sometimes that can make you a little cold. When you're cold, you might be apprehensive. So it's going to be a challenge, but it's good to be presented with challenges this early in your career, especially when these records essentially, even though these are important fights, these records will evaporate.
Absolutely, Darren. Miller's in the cage. We set it back up to Nick Hahn to bring out his opponent.
And his opponent out of the blue corner, Ronald Bobo.
Let's take a look at the tail tape as Ron Bobo hits the cage. Darren Branch, what stands out to you?
I see an athletic wrestler stepping into a cage. And when athletic wrestlers step into cages, normally they handle people.
And you look at the tail tape here, Bobo coming in, making his debut. Miller a little more cage time. The rest almost identical. Miller weighed in 1 pound heavier. Darren, as you mentioned, though, Bobo from Detroit, wrestled through high school, and a wrestler, even though he weighed in today, probably is going to come in a little heavier because he's familiar with cutting weight.
Absolutely. Cutting weight is like breathing air to a wrestler. I wrestled from the time I was a 10-year-old until I was through my high school. So like I remember those experiences of being in a small room in a basement somewhere, sweating with other men, and trying to become a stronger, tougher man.
Right. You cut weight just for fun sometimes. Ron Bobo also wrestled for a little bit, a period of time in college at Virginia Tech. Talking to him before the fight, he said he wants to get in and get it over. I like it. Let's not waste any time.
Absolutely. The faster you can get the job done, the better off you are. It's safer for your career.
Bobo hits the cage. We send it up to Nick Hahn for the official introductions.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for three-minute rounds in the OFC middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu fighter with an MMA record of no wins, 2 losses. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in 169.5 pounds. Fighting out of Grove City Jiu-Jitsu, Jake the Machine Miller. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a freestyle fighter in his first career fight. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in 177.5 pounds. Fighting out of Inkster, Michigan, Ronald Little Bam Bobo. And when the action begins, your referee is the Dr. Todd Augusta.
Set for welterweight action here at OFC 23. Kicking things off, it's Jake Miller in the black tie shorts. Ron Bobo Jr. in the gray. There's Dr. Todd Augusta, third man in the cage. I'm Ryan Kavanaugh, along with Darren Branch. Fighters touch gloves. It's Miller who takes center of the cage. Bobo the southpaw. Miller orthodox. And a left jab from Bobo lands, and now we switch stances. Overhand right from Bobo.
A huge shot from the wrestler. Well defended takedown.
Miller took him down, and Bobo popped right back up to his feet. Miller looked to land there in the clinch.
I'm surprised that Bobo didn't utilize that double underhook position. A very strong position for a wrestler.
Jake Miller landing some good kicks. Scramble, and it's Miller looking for a submission here.
Looks like he might be looking for a head and arm or a darce choke. Now he's taking the back.
Remember, this amateur, three-minute rounds, and this has been an action-packed first minute.
And the inexperience of Bobo shows now as he bellies down, showing his back, presenting opportunities for Mr. Miller to score.
Miller hangs on. Bobo tries to shuck him off the top. Now he's flattened out Bobo.
With Bobo stretched out here, it's not difficult to rain down enough strikes to warrant a stoppage. He either needs to start throwing aggressive strikes or looking for that choke.
And Todd Augusta is telling him he's got to do something. He's got to move. The corner of Bobo telling him to move. And Bobo actually looked back to his corner and allowed Miller to sink it in. He's got the rear naked choke. Can Miller finish? And there's the tap. Jake Miller has just finished Ron Bobo. Rear naked choke in the first. Darren, was that a case of the inexperience, or is Jake Miller just technically the better fighter here tonight?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think I saw Jake Miller outperform him, especially after getting rocked that first time. A lot of times, a fighter is looking for the choke, and the fighter on the bottom wants out. You see how the guy's reaching for the leg right here? He wanted the fight to be over, my opinion. He was ready to go home.
Yeah, and it happens sometimes. looking for the way out, but that's a big win for Jake Miller. And again, Grove City BJJ gets it done. That's an excellent submission. Victory, and we send it up to Nick Hahn to make this one official.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 46 seconds in the very first round, declaring your winner by tap out to a rear naked choke, Jake the Machine Miller.
I'm here with your winner, Jake Miller. First, I got to ask you, Jake, you guys came out, you exchanged. It looked like he may have caught you. Were you at any time hurt during that fight?
No. As soon as he hit me, I felt it hard. I think it was the right. Kind of knocked my footing off, and I knew I had to take him down. I had to get the back.
Let's take the mouthpiece out. You knew you had to take him down. You did take him down. You looked very comfortable on the ground. When you got him down, what were you thinking as far as getting your submission game going?
I've been landing a Peruvian necktie in the gym a lot here lately. I had an opportunity to land it. I went to go do it. He grabbed a hold of my leg. I just automatically started punching him. He gave up his back. He was pushing me back with his hands, had his hands down. I knew if I punched him enough, he was dropping them, and I can get the choke in.
Now, I want to ask you this since we have a moment here. Whenever you see a fighter and he's got the guy's back, he has the hooks in, there seems to be a question. Am I just going to pound him out? Am I going to look for the submission? At what point did you decide, I've hit him enough, let's go for the submission win?
I just seen an opening. I just took it. I wanted to pound him out, and he was blocking real good. I was scared I was going to have to stand up or he was going to get out of it, so I seen an opportunity to just put him in it.
Spoken like a true BJJ fighter. Is there anybody out there you want to thank? And we got a request for you to speak up. So when you thank people, make sure they know you're talking to them. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Most of all, I'd like to thank my coach, Dave Frietich. I'd like to thank my cornermen, Caleb and Avery, Mason, everybody at the gym who's helped me. Everybody there is great, and I really appreciate it.
In honor of Avery and OFC 22, can we get you a little bounce going? It's kind of the thing. All right, you guys are winner. One more time, the Machine. Just received word that Chris Welsh had just gotten his gloves. This fight will go on, but Chris Welsh had just gotten his gloves on, and it may be a minute until he's ready.
These things happen.
These things, in the famous words of Gus Johnson, these things happen in MMA. We may be ready to go. Joe Pimentel and Chris Welsh. We send it up to Nick Hahn to bring out our first fighter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the fighter out of the red corner, Joe Pimentel.
Joe Pimentel, one of the first of three fighters from Team Ascension up in Ontario, as we see headman Chris Bonfoco on the right, bringing out Mr. Joe Pimentel.
I'm excited to see this entire team in action. I love when someone has a legitimately strong background and then they try MMA. Instead of deciding, like, I've trained for 3 days and I think it's time for me to get punched in the face. So I think you're gonna see a high level of amateur competition in this fight.
Yeah, there's all three of the Team Ascension fighters. Joe Pimentel coming in the flyweight, 125-pound division, and Coach Bonfoco says he's got a bunch of killers up north in Ontario at the lighter weight classes. They all put work in, including the leader, Andrew Shea, who will be back in action January 31st. Coach Bonfoco wanted me to point out that if you get a chance to be in Toledo, go check out his head dog, the big guy in the gym, Andrew Shea. But now, Joe Pimentel, 2-1. He's coming off a loss 3 weeks ago, and this says a lot about Team Ascension. We had a chance to talk to Bonfoco before, and he said that loss is on him. He didn't treat the weight cut properly. He misjudged it, and he's taking the blame for his fighter's loss.
That is the mark of an excellent coach. An excellent coach doesn't necessarily put all the blame on a fighter, always taking the blame on themselves, and that's going to make sure that he's keeping himself at a high standard of excellence.
And important to note, on that point, Chris Pimentel's weight cut was just fine. They're on point.
He looks strong. He looks healthy. The whole team looks to be in good spirits, like they had a really great training camp. I'm looking forward to seeing these guys get into action. Broad range of skills here. Kickboxing skills, some wrestling skills, some jiu-jitsu skills. That's what I like to see. Well-rounded, talented guys.
And there's one thing Team Ascension does well is jiu-jitsu. Pimentel comes in with a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. Coach Bonfoca will say they're the best-looking MMA team. I'm going to say they're the MMA team that takes the longest to get from the gorilla position into the cage.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it takes a while to be handsome. Even if you cover that face with a beard, even if you cover that face, you can't tell me that that's not a handsome gentleman.
Pimentel's in the cage. We bring out his opponent.
All right, let's welcome his opponent out of the blue corner, Chris Welsh.
There's Chris Welsh. I mentioned there was a slight delay, and we'll see if that delay has any effect as he's got the gloves. He's ready. And let's take a look now at the tail of the tape as we have a matchup with flyweights, Darren, and it's not something we typically see in the lighter weight, just like it's difficult to find heavyweights, but we've got these guys both weighing in just around that 125-pound mark.
Absolutely, and as you see the sport grow, you'll see more and more guys at lighter weight classes, perhaps even lighter weight classes evolving. Right now I'm looking at the records. Chris is making his debut. Joe not only has 3 fights, but he has an experienced camp supporting him. That, more than the record, could be a huge factor today.
Chris Walsh looks like he could be a relative of our cameraman, Justin Doan.
Is that a compliment to Chris?
It is, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Justin Doan, one of the more handsome cameramen that E2A MMA Productions employs.
If only we could get him in front of that camera. If only.
Welsh getting oiled up. And Darren, one thing I always enjoy is the lighter weight classes. You get the 125-pounders in there. You expect action and nonstop action.
Absolutely. 125-pound fighters never slow down.
What weight class? You're 2-0 as an MMA fighter?
I did have a brief entry into the world of MMA. I am 2-0.
2-0. We're going to get back to your career in a minute. Let's get the official introductions from Nick Hahn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for three-minute rounds in the OFC Bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the right corner. This man is a mixed martial artist with a record of 2 wins with 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 126.5 pounds. Fighting out of Welland, Ontario, Canada, with Team Ascension Mental, Joe Pimentel. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a freestyle fighter in his first career fight. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighing in at 127 pounds. Fighting out of Delaware, Ohio, Chris Welsh. And when the action begins, your referee is the Dr. Todd Augusta.
Mental, Joe Pimentel in the blue.
That's my favorite nickname of the night.
Chris
Mental.
Walsh, the black and white fight shorts. Todd Augusta, third man in the cage. I'm Ryan Cavanaugh, along with Darren Branch, bringing you the action from OFC 23. Fighters touch gloves. It's Welsh southpaw. Pimentel takes the back.
It's a wrap.
Rear naked choke right off the bat. Mount. And Joe looks to work the ground and pound. And he moves down. And he's got the legs grapevine in the back there, Darren.
He does. People do this to make it a little difficult for the person on bottom to turn the hips over. But what I think you're seeing right now is a serious differential in skill. Mouthpiece out, will gone.
Yeah. And Pimentel is putting, and then he's got some clean shots, and Todd Augusta taking a close look. Welsh, and that's it. Todd Augusta's seen enough. Joe Pimentel back in the win column. Wow, that was fast, that was quick, it was powerful, it was impressive.
Well, there was that one awkward interaction where he almost had the rear naked choke because he was confident enough to just go for it from any position. So I think what we're seeing here is somebody with a lot of talent from a good camp who has shoulders fighting someone who may not have shoulders, who may not be from a good camp.
Take a look at the finish here. This is, you see the mouthpiece has already been knocked out here.
True. And the technique being used on bottom demonstrates a lack of understanding in the position. So Joe had to control an awkward opponent, which occasionally is more challenging than holding down a skilled guy.
Joe Pimentel moves the record to 3-1. We send it up to Nick Hahn to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has called a stop to this contest at 46 seconds in the very first round, declaring your winner by TKO Mental Joe Pimentel.
I'm here with our winner, Joe Pimentel. You know what? Walk us through the fight. It was 40-some seconds of aggression. It was 40-some seconds of violence. Walk it through us for it.
I had a decision loss a few weeks back. I had a few weeks back. I had a decision loss. I came out here. I decided we weren't going to the judges. I came out here. I wanted to strike with him, take him down, ground and pound, get the submission whenever I could. Feel like I came out here and stuck to the game plan pretty good.
It looked like everything went according to plan. I know you guys are from Team Ascension, 3 guys on the fight card. Any predictions for your 2 teammates here that we're going to see later on the show?
Yeah, actually, my 2 teammates fighting tonight were 4 of the smaller guys at the club. We go by the Lullaby League. Lullaby League's going 3-0 tonight.
Anybody out there you'd like to thank?
Yeah, first, I'd like to thank OFC for having me on the show tonight. I'd like to thank Chris Larkin for having me down here. All you fans, it's close to Christmas time. Thank you very much for paying to come out here and watch these. Everyone who drove down here, my opponent, thank you very much. It takes a lot to step in the cage, so give him a round of applause.
I'd like to thank you for your performance tonight. One more thing.
I can't forget Team Ascension. We are the best. Chris Bonfoco, greatest coach in the world.
Congratulations. 3-1, Mental Joe Pimentel.
Coming up next, in the welterweight division, we have James Taylor taking on Dan Hutchinson.
This is an interesting fight, Darren, as Hutchinson makes his debut. Taylor comes in with a record of 0-1. Hutchinson trains with Drew Schottenheimer, very confident. Was Hutchinson in the skills, was Schottenheimer rather in the skills of Hutchinson. And Taylor, as we'll talk about in a moment, new fight camp, very comfortable and looking to get a win here. We'll send it up to Nick Hahn to bring out our first fighter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the fighter out of the red corner, James Taylor.
There's James Taylor, as I mentioned, representing the Community School of Martial Arts, Circleville, Ohio. And Darren, this is something he felt very comfortable and confident would have a positive impact on his fight here tonight.
Absolutely. He said that he bounced around a lot in the first year or so in his martial arts training career. He couldn't find a good niche, but now he feels very comfortable training where he's training. He feels like he has the right attention, and so now he's going to try this again and give it a hard shot. I think he's going to have a good time in there tonight.
Been training mixed martial arts for 1.5 to 2 years. While he says only a white belt in jiu-jitsu, in tournaments he competes in higher weight classes.
So is CM Punk.
Yeah.
CM Punk is a white belt.
There you go.
You know, I don't look down on white belts. I didn't get the black belt and then all of a sudden decide that white belts can't fight. I used to be a white belt that kicked people's ass.
And his opponent out of the blue corner, Dan Hutchinson.
There's Dan Hutchinson coming to the cage with a couple pretty good fighters in their own right. Donnie Corbell, Matt Anderson, Drew Schottenheimer, some of the best here in Central Ohio.
It's always good for your confidence to have those last-minute hugs right before you go out to the cage. It makes you feel supported. Of course, you're in there alone, but the illusion that you're not alone can be helpful.
Take a look at the tail of tape. Other than the records, Darren, we've got a much heavier James Taylor.
Absolutely. That's going to be a huge advantage if he can make it one. The way that you make your weight an advantage is you put your weight on the man. You pin him against the cage. You take him down and you lay on him. You apply your weight to gain an advantage.
And James Taylor did cut for this fight. He came in over, as this was scheduled at 155 pounds. We'll see if that weight cut and attempting to get down is an advantage or a disadvantage against someone like Hutchinson, who decided not to cut weight, came in at 155, ultimately weighted 158 because of where his opponent was at.
Well, you can tell the story you want to tell when something has happened. So saying, I tried to make the weight is one thing, but I'm looking at a man that looks like he's full of water.
We'll send it up to Nick Hahn for the official introductions.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for three-minute rounds in the OFC welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a freestyle fighter with an MMA record of no wins with 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing at 166 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Circleville, Ohio, James Taylor. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a mixed martial artist in his first career fight. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 158 pounds. Fighting out of Columbus, Ohio, Dan Hutchinson. And when the action begins, your referee is Brent Bullock.
Catch weight of 168 pounds, welterweight action, 170 pounds. Dan Hutchinson in the black and white. James Taylor, black and camouflaged. James Taylor lands a right hand that appeared to graze Hutchinson, but dropped him, and now he's mounted Hutchinson.
He attempted to pull him into his guard, but he ended up pulling him in a weak half guard, and now he's mounted, trying to bring the legs in front and peek out the back door here, Ryan.
What does Hutchinson have to do to get out of this position, Darren?
If he could lock his legs around the torso like he's trying to do, he might be able to eke out the back. A smarter move would be to try to get his hips into work.
Wow, James Taylor mounting Hutchinson.
Well, now we're seeing some of that weight advantage come into play.
Those are solid punches. Hutchinson's in trouble.
A lack of experience is also being demonstrated from the bottom. The things that he's trying to do are very, very questionable. But it can work. He could get out this way.
And look, if nothing else, it's actually neutralizing what James Taylor's trying to do. And
he's clearly confused by the lock around his body.
And those punches really aren't getting in. It's just a question if Hutchinson can survive what's going on here.
1 minute and 45 seconds is a long time to survive. He really needs to do something to change the position.
I just have to wonder.
Looks like they're stopping it.
And there may have been a verbal submission.
I mean,
James Taylor's gotten up as if it's over, and it is.
Some kind of indication from the referee would be helpful. That's confusing for a crowd.
And I'm not sure.
I'm sure it makes sense inside the cage.
And there's James Taylor kneeing. And I don't know, is that a verbal submission? We take a look at James Taylor, victorious as we still are cage side, trying to figure out what happened. And we're going to take a look at the replay here. And maybe there's Hutchinson trying to tap. Yeah, and Darren Branch just spoke to James Taylor up in the cage.
I did a little renegade interviewing. I just pounded on the cage until the man would speak to me. Turns out there was a verbal tap underneath the mount.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 30 seconds in the very first round, declaring your winner by verbal tap out to strikes, James Taylor.
I'm here with our winner, James Taylor. And James, sitting cage side, I was a little confused about the finish there. Tell us what happened.
I was pounding on him, got strike straight through his guard. He wanted to say it. I mean, he's a tough guy. He toughed through a lot of strikes that I would have tapped out too. he finally said, you know, okay, I'm done, and win's a win.
Okay, so we got a verbal submission, I think is how it will go down. Let's talk about how you got into that position. It looked like you landed. Did you feel like you hit him clean to drop him?
Yeah, when I hit him with that strike, I saw him look a little dazed, just pushed forward, took full mount, and just rode mount out the whole way.
Certainly an impressive victory, a quick victory. You could take your time here and thank whoever you'd like, James.
I'd like to thank my team. Unfortunately, Coach couldn't be here. Another event going on in Chillicothe today. I'd like to thank my beautiful girlfriend cornering me, feeling taking a spot. I'd like to thank the fans again. I know it's Christmas time, like everyone else is saying. You know, appreciate you guys spending money and supporting your local mixed martial arts fighters.
That was a great performance. Guys, put your hands together one more time for the victorious James Taylor.
Welcome back to OFC 23. Coming up, we'll have Brad Miller taking on Mike Dillow. Lightweight action.
And to get the action underway, Darren, we send it up to Nick Hahn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the fighter out of the red corner, Brad Miller.
Lightweight action, OFC 23, Brad Miller, at 24 years old, comes in with a record of 1-2 as we wait Brad's arrival through the doors.
The records of these fighters can be so misleading at these early stages. If you told someone that you were 1-2 at something, they would assume that possibly you weren't that good. That assumption could lead you down a dangerous path. If you're fighting a guy that's 1-2, you better bring your A game. He's looking to become 500. He's hungry.
Also looking to keep it standing. Although he says he has an improved ground game, does Brad Miller. And again, the 3 fights, invaluable experience.
Three fights will definitely help him tonight. Being experienced in any way is going to help him. Also, having so many guys around him that are also training to be at the same event.
Brad Miller was very composed when we spoke to him before the fight. And he wanted to carry that composure over into the cage, so he wants to keep breathing, stay relaxed, as he feels that's a quicker way for him to even his record out at 500. We send it up to Nick Hahn to bring out Mr. Miller's opponent.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome his opponent out of the blue corner, Michael Dillow.
There's Michael Dillow, debut fighter. As we take a look at the tail of the tape, Darren, and we see how these two fighters match up.
Very evenly matched fight outside of the experience factor. We've got two young guys, both long lightweight fighters who weighed in near the same weight. Let's see how much of a difference Brad's 3 fights have been. Can he carry that experience and turn that experience into a victory?
And for Dillow, making his debut here, Darren, you know, what's the thought process for a guy, as we mentioned, you're 2-0 in your career. You've walked this walk before for your debut.
The idea is to go in there and execute what you do in the gym. The hardest thing for a fighter to do in his debut is to be his best self. He's not experienced with this kind of pressure before, so if he can block out all the nerves and just focus on performing, we might see a new rising star.
I mean, it's certainly, you know, a big difference, though, when you're under the bright lights. It's your first time live competition, whereas his opponent, which will be Brad Miller's 4th fight. Michael Dillow, as you pointed out, though, Matt Anderson in his corner trains with a very good fight camp. He'll be ready. Dillow has made his way into the cage. We send it back inside to Nick Hahn for the official introductions.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in the OFC lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a freestyle fighter with an MMA record of 1 win with 2 losses. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 152 pounds. Fighting out of Dayton, Ohio, Brad Miller. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a kickboxer in his first career MMA fight. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 153 pounds. Fighting out of Columbus, Ohio, Michael Dillow. And your referee is Brent Bullock.
We're set for action in the lightweight division. Brad Miller in the gray. There to the right of your screen is Michael Dillow, debuting in the black. Brent Bullock, third man in the cage. I'm Ryan Cavanaugh along with Darren Branch. Bringing you the action from Ohio Fighting Championships 23. Good body kick by Dillow. Wow, that was solid.
A deep body kick. Both guys looking to strike early on.
Dillow, you're doing a nice job. The taller fighter at 6 foot, very tall for this weight class, and he uses his length well, Darren.
Absolutely. Anything over 5'9" is pretty long for a lightweight fighter.
Dillow has ripped 2 body shots with his left kick,
And
taking a southpaw stance.
He's looking to maintain that distance and continue landing from that range.
Good right outside leg kick. Dillow chopping him down, and Miller, nice compact right.
You can see those leg kicks starting to take effect. He buckled his leg with that last one. He's trying to really do a good job of maintaining the distance to strike more. Look for him to look for another leg kick.
Dillow, home run punch misses, and it looks like Brad Miller wants to close the distance.
It would be in his best interest to close the distance. He seems to be losing the striking battle.
Certainly with the leg kicks, Dillow has ripped on Miller.
Knees to the body, and here's that dangerous range again. He's gonna open with the leg kick.
Scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds as we near the midpoint of round number 1. Good left by Miller. Miller smiling a little bit. And you can see the redness on the body of Brad Miller.
I think Brad Miller just realized he's in a fight, and he doesn't mind it.
Yeah, right. Another body kick by Dillow. Debilitating body kicks.
It's so difficult to recover from deep body shots.
And Dillow catches the left leg of Miller, and we'll see if he wants to take him down.
Pressing him against the cage here. He's got to watch the guillotine choke.
Doesn't look like he has the hands clasp underneath, Darren. Your opinion?
No, he's safe right now, but now it's getting tighter. He's turning it over to the over grip. That could be tight, Ryan. Let him go. Fight's over.
He's out. Wow. Mike Dillow has just put Brad Miller to sleep. Wow.
A brutal guillotine.
And Brad Miller's corner was next to us. He was telling them, the referee, Brett Bollock, that he was tapping.
We did say that we might see a new star.
Wow, Mike Dillow. That was an impressive performance. Take a look at the finish here, Darren.
Now
Talk about the adjustment of the hands.
What he does is he takes his hand that's sealing the grip and he turns it over so that his palm is pressing upwards. And that allows him to crank the guillotine at an even stronger rate. And so that's what puts him to sleep here. And here it is, you can see him go to sleep right against the cage. Now the last time I saw a man go against the cage and go to sleep like that, it was Lyle Machida against Bones Jones.
It was a very similar type.
The exact same choke.
Yep.
Brutal technique, and it's good to see the young man is okay. He's sitting up, he's talking to the doctor.
And
He's going to be just fine.
And if you take a look at Mike Dillow here, Darren, that was as impressive of a debut as I've seen in a while.
Absolutely. Varied attack, leg kicks, body shots, good movement, understanding of distance, and then finishing with a submission. You really can't have a stronger debut than that.
We're sending it back inside the cage to Nick Hahn to make it official.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 31 seconds in the very first round, declaring your winner by knockout due to a guillotine choke, Michael Dillow.
Wow, I'm here with our winner, Michael Dillow. And Michael, Darren Branch and I were just commenting that this is one of the more impressive debuts I've seen in a while. I want to start with the leg kicks. Did you feel like you were hurting him and getting inside him with those leg kicks?
Yeah, I knew after I landed the first leg kick, I saw him like smile at me. So I knew that he was hurt, so I just stuck with that and was waiting for him to shoot in like he was so I could get the guillotine in.
Now it looked as if you were trying to avoid him and keep your distance to keep the fight standing and avoid the clinch battle, yet you finish him with a submission. When did you decide, I'm going to put him away with a submission?
You know, I really didn't come in with a game plan. I knew that he was going to run at me and, you know, gas himself out really quick, so I just stuck with that, and whatever presented itself, I was going to go with.
You certainly recognized when it presented itself. That was a vicious and impressive finish. You're 1-0 now. Who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank all my teammates over at Top Dog MMA, Your Fight for sponsoring me, Octagon Fight Gear for supporting me. Also, I want to thank my dad over there for sticking with me through everything, and he's always supported me.
Guys, put your hands together one more time. 1-0, Michael Dillow.
Coming up next, we have bantamweight action. Dalton Brady is taking on Marquise Johnson.
This is an interesting matchup, Darren.
I am very, very interested in this matchup. We've got Dalton Brady coming out of a very heralded camp. Team Ascension. Marquise Johnson, 6 fights of experience. It's going to be a strong, strong fight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the fighter out of the red corner, Dalton Brady.
Dalton Brady, one of the more anticipated fighters on this fight card, Darren. One of the top prospects in my estimation in the Midwest, certainly coming from Ontario, Canada. That's why I have to say Midwest, not the Ohio States, north of the border. Only 19 years old, has developed a 3-0 record. He comes in with an extensive background in martial arts.
He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. He's been kickboxing at a national level in Canada. This kid's not coming here to play around, and he came wearing the gi, so my heart is already in his corner. I'm with this guy. Am I allowed to do that? Can I be with him?
You can be with him.
I'm
Darren.
with him.
And contrary to what the music might let you think, he's an Energizer Bunny. He's an explosion of action and energy once he gets inside the cage. Right now, calm before the storm.
Oh, it's not calm. This is epic music, Ryan. You're misunderstanding the tone. This is epic music. He's about to do major stuff, and we get to watch and talk about it. It's a treat.
Absolutely. Says his strengths are being a composed fighter, good in all areas, solid with the cardio, and we know he's got a very solid corner.
Absolutely. A strong camp, and whenever you have several guys fighting to be on the same card, there's a unity and a uniformity of preparation that occurs that always leads towards excellence.
And Dalton Brady, one final note before he hits the cage, nicknamed Donkey. And he's nicknamed the Donkey because he doesn't shut up. In his words, I don't shut up and I get work done.
It's like the most complimentary way to say jackass.
I think you said it.
Oh no, don't worry, I'm with him, it's okay.
I forgot. Also, as a cerebral fighter, he says that it's not one certain discipline. When you get inside the cage, it's the person who's the best mixed martial artist who will win the fight.
Now, what's demonstrative of that is his record. He's won in all the possible ways you can win. He's finished by knockout, he's finished by submission, he's finished by decision.
And you're absolutely right. He's shown to be well-rounded and well-versed in all aspects of the fight.
Absolutely. He can even stare the camera down. Look at the confidence in this young man.
He knows. We're talking to him before. He is a very confident fighter, knows what he has to do, and is excited to have the opportunity to go in there and do it.
Kind of reminds me of an Ian McCall.
Minus the mustache.
Yeah, a much cooler Ian McCall.
Much less creepy. Dalton Brady's in the cage. We send it back to Nick Hahn to bring out his opponent.
And let's welcome his opponent out of the blue corner, Marquise Johnson.
Marquise Johnson from Strike Fitness comes in with a 2-4 record, or as he would put it, a 6-fight veteran. As we take a look at the tail of the tape, Marquise Johnson explodes. Darren Branch, what stands out?
What stands out to me? Record. The record stands out. 3-0, 2-4. 6 fights, only 2 wins. Depending on who you're fighting, it may not be that telling. But 3-0, that kid's going somewhere if this goes the right way tonight.
One of the more hyped prospects. But Marquise Johnson was a very confident fighter. He says his cardio is amazing. Although he's from Strike Fitness, he mentioned his jiu-jitsu. I'm not sure if that's gamesmanship.
It could be. It could be. Maybe he doesn't want to tell us what his plans are. He wants to just surprise us when he steps into the cage.
He is an explosive fighter. And we look for two guys both who stress their ability to keep a high pace and keep it for as long as they need to. Usually that is a recipe for an exciting fight. This is OFC 2023. We've had a lot of finishes.
Absolutely.
All in the first round.
Yes.
Will this streak continue, Darren? We're going to find out in a minute. Marquise Johnson enters the cage. Wow. One of the more dramatic entrances. We send it up to Nick Hahn for the official introductions. Gamesmanship.
Draw a little heat. Draw a little heat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for 3-minute rounds in the OFC Bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the right corner. This man is a mixed martial artist with an MMA record of 3 wins with no losses. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighed 134.5 pounds. Fighting out of Welland, Ontario, Canada with Team Ascension, Dalton Donkey Brady. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. This man's a capoeira fighter with an MMA record of 2 wins, 4 losses. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighed 133 pounds. Fighting out of Strike Fitness MMA in Columbus, Ohio, the hybrid fighter, Marquise A.P. Johnson. And when the action begins, your referee is the Dr. Todd Augusta.
We're going to get the entire nickname out here in the traditional tie shorts. It's the hybrid fighter, Marquise A.P. Johnson, taking on, in the gray, Dalton Donkey Brady.
The crowd is now engaged.
Well, Marquise Johnson has got them involved. He's doing a lot of talking. The time for talk is over. Body kick by Johnson. He's going to the ground. And when Dalton takes him down, Chris Bonfoco predicted it will be over very quickly. Bonfoco, of course, the head man at Team Ascension.
A nice tight clinch. Looking to do a really simple trip here. Excellent knees to the thigh.
Darren, how's he going to take him down here?
He's looking to just control the hips and trip him down. It's close to the takedown. He keeps working for it.
Good takedown defense by Johnson. Showing a lot of good
Absolutely.
balance.
A nice quick level change there by Dalton. Digging for double underhooks right now. Tight on that body lock.
Good knees by Brady. Working on that left front wheel of Marquise Johnson.
And whenever you're dealing with a guy that's willing to twist himself around and jump around inside the cage, working on his legs and his body, excellent strategy.
And Johnson throws his hands up. Oh, and an overhand right by Brady on the exit. Crowd engaged. Marquise Johnson. A non-traditional, very spread out, almost a karate-style stance from Johnson. But I didn't see, was that a slip?
No, that was a nice little short left hook that landed and temporarily dropped Dalton, but he looks like he's okay now. He's recovered.
Johnson with the takedown.
But yes, he's been slammed into side control.
Johnson with the takedown. I didn't anticipate him being the one to take this fight to the ground.
Nor did I. Halfway through the round right now, a good showing out of both men.
And Marquise Johnson looks to be the much bigger fighter. He goes for knee on belly. Good scramble.
Excellent scramble back to the feet.
Dalton Brady with an uppercut, opening up, and Marquise Johnson, hands at his waist, avoiding strikes with the head bob.
He's keeping it exciting, but he's taking some damage there.
Wow, Marquise Johnson.
So far, an impressive first round out of both guys. Best fight of the night so far.
Dalton Brady tenderizing the left ribs of Johnson. Mixing it up high-low, the ribs, then the legs with the knees.
For a person that claimed to have excellent cardio, he seems to be hanging out there against the cage. He should be working right now.
And Brady looking for a takedown of his own, operating right in front of our broadcast position.
If Dalton can connect his hands, he'll complete the takedown.
Boom, and he drives him down.
There it is.
And there's some solid ground and pound.
And he's
from
going to
Dalton
work
Brady.
right away, trying to take this round back.
And Darren, he's put him right in front of his corner. We're down to the final 15 seconds of the first round.
An intelligent choice. He's going to keep working on top. Difficult round to score, though, Ryan.
An excellent first round. And we're going to see round number 2. Look at the gamesmanship, sportsmanship. Dalton Brady helps the fighter. Darren, wow, what a fight. Before we get the replay of that round, I'm going to put you on the spot. How do you score that?
Oh, how do I score that? I already told you I'm with Dalton. It's 10-9 Dalton. That takedown at the end solidifies it for me. Also, the number of strikes landed to the body and the leg. I would say 10-9 Dalton, but a very, very close round.
And the lovely Jamie getting her first work of the evening. We are
Hi, Jamie.
5 fights deep. First time we've gone to the second round. As we take a look at some of the action here from round number 1, Darren.
Some good exchanges in this round, and there's that short left hook that briefly dropped Dalton Brady, but you see he quickly recovered, ends up pinning the man against the cage, so he has time to clear those cobwebs and attack. And there's the beautiful takedown.
And we'll see, let's see if we see some of this head movement here. I believe this is where Brady releases, and we see Johnson.
He separates.
Oh, this is at the end of the round where he digs for that
Yes.
takedown.
And he needs to lock his hands underneath the hips and then suck him away from the cage, which is exactly what he did to score that takedown. And I believe it's that takedown that solidified the round.
It's Dalton Brady in the gray. There's Marquise Johnson in the tie shorts. Dr. Todd Augusta, third man in the cage here in round 2, scheduled for 3. A left lead by Marquise Johnson. Timed it perfectly on Dalton.
Dalton's not moving his head very much. It's why he's getting caught. He's a little stationary and comes a little bit straight in.
Good body kick by Johnson. And, as Dalton is entering, he's leaving his hands down. And Johnson's been able to catch him.
Nice shot.
And Johnson rolls for a guillotine. How deep is this, Darren?
That could be tight. But you see he's rolling out of it, avoiding. And now he's clinched up in the butterfly guard, looking to sweep. He's got to be cautious here. Sometimes when you play a very sport-oriented game, you can get overwhelmed.
And now Dalton looks for the guillotine.
He's pulling him into the full guard. What he'd like to do right now is move his hips to the outside so he can drop the top of his head to the ground, but he let it go. He realized he didn't really have it. Now he's looking triangle.
And when he grabs the wrist there, the right wrist of Johnson.
Absolutely.
He's looking to lace that arm behind the leg and work the triangle. Is that right?
Yes, sir. He's looking to triangle choke him right now. It looks like he's bringing it out. Bang!
Do you remember, he mentioned that the triangle is one of his favorite submissions to
Absolutely.
Dalton Brady.
It's getting tighter. and it's not really being defended. He's just kind of sitting in it.
And Dalton Brady.
Perhaps he has a neck that's difficult to choke, and he knows it.
And there's a tap. Dalton Brady has submitted Marquise Johnson. And Dalton Brady now is asking for the crowd to cheer him on. That was an excellent fight, an excellent fight.
An excellent fight from both guys. Very entertaining, very technical finish.
What a fight. And we take a look at the finish here, Darren.
Right here, he pulls the triangle, and immediately he starts tightening it up and looking to hit him with strikes to make him adjust his arms. He hooks the leg here to get a better angle so he can finish the triangle tighter. Strike, 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 until the man was forced to tap.
We send it up to Nick Hahn to make it official.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 46 seconds in the second round. Declaring your winner by tap out to a triangle choke, Dalton Donkey Brady.
Guys, put your hands together one more time for Marquise Johnson. What a fight! Dalton, you came here from north of the border for a fight. Marquise Johnson gave you one. First, we got to start at the beginning here. As he entered the cage, you got in your face a little posturing. Did that have any effect on your mood prior to throwing down?
Not really. Just some guy getting in my face. That's all it is.
It looked like you tested him on the feet a little bit, then you wanted to take him down. At what point did you decide that you wanted to make this a ground fight?
Well, I made it a ground fight right after he hit me a couple times. I just felt like I'd be a stronger fighter on the ground. So used my purple belt skills that I got and pulled off that triangle. So,
speaking of the triangle, talk us through the setup and how you were able to finish.
So with the triangle, I was setting it up by hooking under his left arm, cutting my angle to the side so I could whip that left leg over his head. Opened up for that punch, made it a nice clear entry for me, so that's all I can say.
Who out there would you like to thank, Dalton?
I'd like to thank my family, my friends, my teammates, my coaches, and most of all, Chris Bonfoco for bringing us down here to this beautiful event. Oh, and I'd like to thank OFC for getting me on this card, and Marquise Johnson for taking the fight.
Guys, now 4-0, Donkey, Dalton Brady.
Nick Spinks, Jack Basil. Set to keep OFC 23 moving. We send it up to Nick Hahn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the fighter out of the red corner, Nick Spinks.
Nick Spinks, 28 years old, making his second appearance inside the cage and second appearance inside Ohio Fighting Championships. Comes in with a record of 0-1, which was a guillotine loss to John Hancock. There's Nick Spinks. He's quite simply, he's a boxer. He wants to come in and land one of those bombs.
Absolutely, a person looking to do damage with their hands primarily, but the most striking thing about this striker is his heart. This guy was sick. This guy had a lot of trouble in training camp. He showed up here to scrap, on time, on weight. Got to appreciate that.
Absolutely. He's had it almost 2.5 weeks prior to this fight. He's been out about 2.5 weeks ago. He had an issue with his tooth, had to have some mouth surgery, and then last week he was sick, unable to train. But Nick Spinks is here. He's game. He's ready to fight. And since that last loss to John Hancock, he said he's been working on the guillotine.
Absolutely.
Says he will not get caught in another guillotine.
Keep that head up.
And we saw him let the hands go a little bit in that fight against Hancock before engaging. What Spinks is going to want to do, keep the distance and rely on that boxing background.
Absolutely. Started boxing at the age of 15.
Spinks is in the ring. We send it up to Nick Hahn to bring out his opponent.
And his opponent out of the blue corner, Jack Basil. All
Jack Basil makes the walk. There's Zach Cook. Matt Anderson in the corner of Zach Basil again. Another excellent group of fighters. As we take a look at the tail of the tape and see how these two fighters match up, Darren, what stands out?
What stands up, I see an age difference, a 5-year age gap. Besides that, these guys are about even. That little bit of weight, probably not going to be a factor tonight, especially since we're looking at guys that like to throw their hands.
And both fighters looking to get in the win column. Jack Basil fought in October, and that was a loss due to stoppage in the first round to Caleb Frazier. And, that's a very tough fighter is Caleb Frazier.
Absolutely.
Basil himself looking for his first win, and two evenly matched fighters.
It'll be interesting to see if Nick can really perform. All that adversity in his training camp can be draining on you, but he seemed to be in good spirits when we saw him. He seemed to be ready to get in there and interact in the cage and go for the victory.
Jack Basil's in the cage. We send it up to Nick Hahn for the official introductions.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for three-minute rounds in the OFC featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a freestyle fighter with an MMA record of no wins with 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighed 142 pounds. Fighting out of Zanesville, Ohio, Nick Spinks. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter with an MMA record of no wins with 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighed 139 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Buckeye Jiu-Jitsu, Jack Basil! And when the action begins, your referee is the doctor, Todd Augusta.
Nick Spinks in the white fight trunks. Jack Basil in the black. Dr. Todd Augusta, third man in the cage. Ryan Kavanaugh along with Darren Branch, and it's Spinks who takes center cage.
Right away, Spinks opening up with big hands.
Big uppercuts. Oh, looking for the home run punch. And it's Spinks who goes for the guillotine, uses it to drag him down. And Basil, very game.
Utilizing a lot of power now is Mr. Spinks.
I don't know if Basil's just looking to overcome this quick burst. And we'll see if the cardio, big uppercut. Spinks almost falls down, readying to throw that punch.
I think he sees a drastic advantage in the striking. He's trying to exploit that right now, trying to get his opponent to open up to make it easier to punch him in the face. Right now, Mr. Basil looks happy just to keep his hands high.
Spinks with the takedown, and it almost looked like Basil brought him into the guard.
Yes, I believe he did pull guard here. He needs to keep his posture broken down, otherwise this could be even worse for him. A quick mount.
Big right hand from Spinks. Spinks looking to finish.
These are not like drum roll type punches that you see fighters throw from the mount. This is a man trying to hurt another man.
And
that's
Augusta's
why
seen
the
enough.
referee stops the fight.
It's all over. Nick Spinks has finished Jack Basil. Wow.
A very, very strong showing from Nick Spinks.
A lot of power out of Nick Spinks.
And he showed a varied amount of skills. He looked for a guillotine, he sprawled, he mounted, he passed the guard. What didn't he do? What didn't that guy do? Beautiful.
That's impressive performance, Nick Spinks. And he, he showed a lot of the takedown, the willingness to go for submissions, get
Absolutely.
the takedown that I wasn't expecting out of him.
Looking at this replay, he calmly gets his hands back where they belong, on the man and not on the floor, and then he starts raining down shots. Jack Basil throws his legs up for a weak triangle and gets guard passed, mounted, and then it's all elementary from here. Just strikes until the referee has to rescue him.
Nick Hahn's in the cage. We send it up for the official announcement.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 29 seconds in the very first round. Declaring your winner by TKO, Nick Spinks.
I'm great. How's it going with you?
I feel great.
Listen, a lot of these people out here may not know. Let's look at this camera. A lot of these people may not know this, but you had a tough 2.5 weeks just to get here. You had a tooth issue. You had a sickness. Look, you're still coughing. As if you guys thought I was joking around. We planned that. But how do you feel right now?
Good, man. I'm ready to drink some beer.
You deserve a couple beers. Nick, I was expecting you to come out, throw some hands, knock them out, and you did that. And then at some point you went and took him down. When did you decide you were going to take him to the ground?
I just felt stronger, buddy. When the couple exchanges we had, I felt a little stronger. I could tell he didn't want to hit no more. Wanted to take him down, finish it.
You hit him several times. Did you feel like you hurt him at any time?
Absolutely.
This was an outstanding performance. Who out there would you like to thank?
I'd just like to thank God, my kids, my corner guy, Jordan Blaine, couldn't make it tonight. He's got some tooth issues. All my friends and family that come out to see me. Thank y'all.
Listen, Nick, I'm going to ask the OFC to bring you back as soon as possible. It was a treat watching you fight. The victorious Nick Spinks. Put your hands together one more time.
Coming up, we have heavyweight action. Chris on Chris crime. Chris Mason versus Chris Straight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the fighter out of the red corner, Chris Mason.
Super heavyweight action. Chris Mason, 24 years old, weighed in at 285 pounds from Wauseon, Ohio. There, and he's only been training for 5 months.
But he has an athletic background. He was a high school football player, and he's found a good Muay Thai camp. So he's looking to see if this is a sport for him. I applaud any brave soul that is willing to remove their shirt, stand in front of the world, and either punch or be punched.
Very confident fighter, and as his coach mentioned, very flexible for his size.
I want to see what that looks like. Is he referring to high kicking ability? Is he referring to the ability to pull his legs into strong submission position? Who knows? We'll see. It's a debut.
Very confident in what was most important for Chris Mason. Obviously, looking to get the W, but what's most important is the sportsmanship aspect. Very interested in putting on a performance that he says he can be proud of, and he can walk out of the cage with his head held high knowing that he did his thing.
Absolutely. He seemed to have an outlook that was very mature. A lot of times in this culture, you see guys in their beginning fight, and they start saying outlandish things about how they're just going to knock this kid's face off, or they're going to do something super impressive. It's much, much better to have the outlook of, I'm going to try my best.
And his opponent out of the blue corner, Chris Straight.
Chris Straight, independent fight camp. This is a big, big man as he makes the walk, headed toward the cage. We're going to take a look at the tail of the tape. And certainly,
this is the tail of a tape worth talking about. 285, 322, and a 3-inch height advantage. These are big boys. I hope they reinforce this cage.
Chris Straight 1-0. That was a split decision back in October. But October of 2010.
Now that is a long time ago. So it's almost as if he's making his debut as well. It's been 4 years since he's been in this cage. Let's see if the rust is a factor.
Chris Straight, also a former high school football player. He said quite simply, and I can appreciate this, life got in the way of the MMA career, but now he's back. Chris Straight makes his way into the cage. We send up to Nick Hahn for the official introductions.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for three 3-minute rounds in the OFC super heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a Muay Thai fighter in his first career MMA fight. He stands 6 feet 1 inches tall, weighing at 285 pounds. Fighting out of Wauseon, Ohio, Chris Mason. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a thug jitsu fighter with an MMA record of 1 win with no losses. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighed in at 322 pounds. Fighting out of the mean streets of Springfield, Ohio, Chris Damn Straight. And your referee is Brent Bullock.
These are super heavyweights. Brent Bullock brings the men together. In the red gloves, with his back to us, that's Chris Mason. In the blue gloves and the black is Chris Damn Straight. Fighters
nice.
touch gloves. Darren, get ready for some power.
It's nice to know that with Eve Edwards' recent retirement, Chris Straight is still carrying on the Thug Jitsu name.
That's right. I like it. Good outside leg kick by Mason.
Oh, a huge right hand. This is over.
Oh, straight. Mason answers, and these big boys are throwing leather. Mason fires back. Wow, going to the body shots. Oh, and that was a low blow. Chris Straight backs away. Mason all over him.
Interesting. Back and forth already.
Chris Straight throws a big overhand. Wow.
It looks like Mr. Straight wants to end it with one big blow.
Over 600 pounds of humanity in the cage. Chris Straight withstood the barrage of Chris Mason, and now he's driving him into the cage. I hope that door is reinforced.
Absolutely.
Chris Straight. Now, Darren, how much of the weight of Chris Straight is Chris Mason carrying? There's a tap. There's the tap. Chris Straight has tapped him out. There was so much massive humanity that Brent Bullock, our referee, could not see Mason tapping.
Yes, he was tapping on the offside closest to the cage, where it was difficult for the referee to have good position to see the tap take place, but a very tight guillotine choke was applied, and there was no choice there but to tap out.
Wow, Chris Straight, very impressive performance. And Darren, while we have a moment here, I'd like to, let's take a look at the replay here.
Well, they're working this clinch position. He has good head position. He pins him against the cage with a forearm, looks to land a few shots, and as the guy reaches over, he decides to take a guillotine of his own. It's almost like they were going to suplex each other.
Certainly lined up for it.
And here we see Chris Mason tapping on the outside there. Difficult for the referee to see the angle.
At this time, Darren, I'd like to say, while we wait for the official announcer, I'd like to say a special happy birthday to Quentin Reed Sr. Of course, J.R. Reed with Ohio Fighting Championships. His father, who cannot be with us today, is watching on Go Fight Live. Quentin Reed Sr., happy 75th birthday. We are keeping your front row seat warm, Mr. Reed. Maybe we'll see you at OFC 24. And Chris Straight, maybe we'll see him at OFC 24 as well. A good performance. It's been 4 years in the making, but he's back, and now he's 2-0.
And we saw some dangerous power out of Chris Damn Straight. Early on, he had Chris Mason badly hurt. Badly hurt. I'd be interested in watching this young man fight again.
That was a big right. And don't forget, it was a big right that opened it up for Straight. Let's see some of these punches. This is the boom.
Curse smash!
Wow, Chris Straight.
Huge right hand, and here comes another one. Curse smash!
Left, and almost a short
And
elbow.
I thought the fight was over here. You see how the fighter turns his back? Usually that's a sign that it's about to be a wrap. But he was able to get his composure, come back, and land some strikes of his own, causing Chris Damn Straight to turn away a few times. Both men had to experience adversity, and it came out with Chris Damn Straight finding that guillotine later on.
And this is where Chris Mason actually poured it on. He had
Nice
quite
little
a flurry.
body shot there. Strong performance. You don't normally see super heavyweights mixing it up like that.
That was impressive. And we're still working on Chris Mason. He's up on his feet. Both fighters are up. We hope Chris Mason's all right. Looks like an elbow injury, perhaps. And they're going to help him out of the cage. Chris Strait still in the cage, waiting for them to make it official. We're going to send it up to Nick Hahn for the official announcement of our winner, Chris Strait.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 10 seconds in the very first round. Declaring your winner by tap out due to a guillotine choke, Chris Damn Straight.
Chris, how you feeling?
I'm really tired.
Listen, the first thing I got to ask you, we have the benefit of the TV monitors and the replay, but you opened up and hit him with the flush right, then you hit him with the flush left. Are you surprised he was still standing?
I seen him get wobbly, and I didn't want to rush, but I don't know, man. I knew he was hurt, but I didn't want to go in too fast, you know what I mean?
Speaking of rushing, he bum rushed you. He threw about 25 punches. Was at any point were you worried about the onslaught?
Now I was recharging my battery. I wasn't hurt at all, so.
Some people don't know this. You're now 2-0, and your first victory inside the cage was in October of 2010. It's been 4 years in the making. You're back. When are we going to see you in the cage again?
I want it to be soon. I got to get some good solid training in. I didn't train for this fight at all. So as soon as I get a solid camp together, we'll be back in here.
Well, Chris, I don't know what your timetables are like. I hope soon doesn't mean like 2018 or something like that. That was a good performance. Anybody out there you'd like to thank?
First of all, I want to thank Justin Richwine and Rick White for cornering me. Your Fight for sponsoring me. Nice Cuts in Springfield, Ohio, my boy Mike Nice. And everybody that come out to watch me. I love all y'all. Thanks.
The 2-0, put your hands together. The 2-0, Chris Damn Straight. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started with the final 3 fights of OFC 23, we have a very special guest. We'd like to welcome into the cage a man who was supposed to fight tonight. We're going to find out why he's not fighting tonight. Big fan favorite, Groucho Fitch. Come on in, Groucho. I like a guy who's got his own entrance music to come in for an interview. Groucho, you're supposed to fight tonight. I always like seeing you fight. Tell me what's going on and why you're not getting a chance to throw down.
He backed out, so he got pulled over, went to jail. Because it is what it is.
Sounds like that might have been a tougher night than actually getting in the cage with you. Groucho, I know the last time you were in the cage, you suffered a broken hand. Tell us the status of your health. Are you ready to fight?
I'm ready for him. I want to rematch with him, Daniel, or whoever.
Now, your first fight, who did you fight, and is that the man you want the rematch with?
Justin Smith.
Justin Smith, that was a decision, a great fight. How do you feel about a rematch with him?
I'm ready right now, tomorrow, whenever.
Certainly, we can talk to the guys, try and get that made. Now, there's Juju. Glad to see Team Juju in the house. We're probably not going to do it right now, but we'll see if we can get that booked.
Fine. Ready to sign.
Well, the gauntlet's been set down. The challenge has been made. Now, I know, Groucho, there's a lot of people, even though you weren't able to fight here, there's a lot of people supporting you and helping you get you ready to fight. Why don't you take an opportunity to thank some of those people and point and recognize some of the people that helped you out?
I love my family. Thank you for y'all, friends, everybody, especially my West Side haters. Everybody else that don't like me, fight me.
There you go. If you don't like me, fight me. Spoken like a true man. Groucho, thank you very much. Can't wait to see you inside the cage.
We're welcoming back OFC 23. Donnie Wade taking on Josh Hampton and Darren. We got a minute here. This is going to be the classic wrestler-striker matchup.
And these are the matchups that drew me to MMA originally. I always wanted to know if a guy was really good at punching people in the face and a guy was really good at slamming people on their face, who would win? The age-old question, striker versus grappler, another chapter tonight.
And of course, Donnie Wade, the wrestler. Josh Hampton, the striker. It's going to be contested in the heavyweight division amateur. Three-minute rounds, although let's be honest, so far tonight at OFC 23, three-minute rounds is like a unicorn. It's not even possible.
Like a griffin.
Right. Those things don't really exist, and neither do the judges here. The judges, you know, they may want to return half their paycheck since they haven't earned it at all. They haven't had to go to the judges.
When was the last time someone returned half of a paycheck they didn't earn?
Touche, my friend. I'm sure it's been done just by nobody I know.
Not by me.
Right.
I keep all the monies.
It's time for the main portion of the card. We've got this excellent heavyweight matchup. We're going to be followed by a heavyweight #1 contender matchup, and then, of course, the bantamweight title will be on the line. Donnie Corbell and Vladimir Kazbekov.
I'm looking forward to seeing fights with higher stakes. At the amateur level, one of the things that fighters get to try out is fighting at a level for a belt, fighting at a level for #1 contendership. So you get used to competing in what is similar to the top level.
Looks like the fighters are ready backstage. Nick Hahn ready to take center cage to bring out our first fighter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the fighter out of the red corner, Donnie Wade.
There's Donnie Wade fighting out of Springfield, Ohio.
A powerful wrestler, strong wrestler.
He's been working at the Scrap House as well as Grove City, BJJ. He's not only a wrestler, but he's a wrestling coach at Northeastern High School.
Which is more telling than people might think. One of the interesting things is when you're a coach, you're able to start to break down technique. So perhaps he's able to improve in moments he's not even competing or training.
That's an excellent point, Darren. And it also keeps your mind in the game. You're staying focused on the game.
Quite fit for a heavyweight as well.
Yeah, that's one thing that immediately stands out when you see Donnie Wade. Tail of tape can't tell you that, but he is very in shape. And so often at the amateur level, you don't see guys who are fit. Wade's in the cage.
That's a six-pack.
Donnie Wade's in the cage. Nick Hahn to bring out his opponent.
And his opponent out of the blue corner, Josh Hampton.
Josh, the Warhammer Hampton, fighting out of Strike Fitness MMA, Galway, Ohio, right outside of Columbus, just down the street from where we're at here, as we are going to take a look at the tail of tape. And Darren, what stands out with these two big heavyweights?
A big weight difference. Josh Hampton comes in just 5 pounds underneath the heavyweight limit, while Donnie Wade, he might be better off at light heavy. It looks like he could cut a little bit of water and make that weight, but if he's throwing Shane Carwin-like bombs at heavyweight, maybe there's no need to.
Josh Hampton, a striker, likes to use the ground and pound, and for him, speaking of weight, this weight class is a journey down. He was at 305 pounds. He's down to 250. He's fighting not only to get in shape, to test himself, but also for his family. Got a 3-year-old little girl. And he comes in with a 1-0 record. That's a first-round knockout in August. He's only been training since May 31st. Already impressive, second time in the cage, looking to stay undefeated. And since that fight, one of the areas of focus has been his takedown defense. We'll see just how much the training in the takedown defense has paid off, because he's going to be tested.
Absolutely. When you're confronted with a wrestler, not just another person who's an MMA upstart who's trying to take you down, it's a different universe. The way a wrestler controls a body is unlike anything a normal person experiences. That's a fact. There's a Tim Sylvia thing going on over there.
ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for three-minute rounds in the OFC heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a wrestler in his first career MMA fight. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing at 216 pounds. Fighting out of Springfield, Ohio, Donnie the Gun Wayne! And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a striker with an MMA record of 1 win with no losses. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing at 259 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Strike Fitness MMA, Josh Warhammer Hampton! Early action begins. Your referee is the Dr. Todd Augusto.
Josh Hampton in the black spandex, blue gloves. It's Donnie Wade, black trunks, red gloves. Todd Augusta, third man in the cage. I'm Ryan Cavanaugh, along with Darren Branch, cage side at OFC 23. Hampton comes out throwing, and he's got Wade up against cage. Donnie Wade with the double leg.
Double leg right away, guard pass into side control. Looking to step to the mount and secure the mount now. A little eager. He needs to settle down and hold the position.
Looks to take his back. Donnie Wade looking to work the rear naked choke. Whoa.
It looked like Hampton was going to try to slam him back when he took his back, but he let go immediately and let Hampton slam himself.
And he's just trying to muscle this choke, Darren, but it doesn't look like Wade's under the chin.
Correct. He's lacking technique right now, but he's doing what wrestlers commonly do, which is control the hips. So he's just getting behind him and controlling the hips. He's locking up a cradle right now. Suplex from the cradle.
Wow. Donnie Wade, it looks like Hampton has a front face lock.
But it can't be finished from side control.
Donnie Wade, you're telling me he's okay here. That body shot by Wade got Hampton's attention, and this crowd is loving this fight.
Absolutely. These guys are all over each other.
Donnie Wade's up, and he just muscles him over. Donnie Wade takes some big breaths. Hampton's. We just had an unofficial break in the middle of round 1.
Both men. Gut check time.
I think both fighters are tired. Front kick by Hampton. Hampton fishing for one of those punches. And Donnie Wade, I think, is recharging his batteries here.
Absolutely. Both guys need to make sure they keep their composure here.
Hampton throws. Oh, and Hampton
big shots from both men.
Hampton catches Wade, backs him up. Donnie Wade, cardio looks to be an issue here. Wade so far is avoiding the strikes of Hampton.
Wade's looking for those one and done type shots, where Hampton's looking to set things up a little bit more. There's some of the experience difference in the striker versus the wrestler on the feet.
The mouth of Donnie Wade is wide open. Hampton looks to be the fresher fighter.
Absolutely.
Donnie Wade taking some really deep breaths. There's 35 seconds left. Donnie Wade looking to get to the second round, and Hampton just misses with the left hook. Superman punch from Wade just misses. And Hampton slaps his face as if to say, bring it on. And Wade obliges. Right hand from Wade. Body shots. Wade went for a single leg and slumped down. I think he might have just shot the tank on that.
I think he's worried about that guillotine as well.
5 seconds. It looks like we're going to see round number 2. We're going to round number 2. And Donnie Wade is slow to get up.
The crowd loves this fight.
They do. Got some blood over the eye of Donnie Wade. I can't tell if that's a cut.
Well, there's definitely some blood on the elbow of Josh Hampton. It could just be from that.
The lovely Jamie lets us know it's round number 2. Hi, Jamie. And take a look at the action here, and it looks like Donnie Wade was
here's the back slam attempt. He goes to back splash him, but there's a disconnection right there. Boom! He could have hurt his own neck there. That could have been very, very ugly, Ryan. And now you see him trying to control the hips. exciting first round heavyweight action.
What a first round. And the crowd rising, chanting Warhammer.
They're chanting Warhammer. They're getting behind their boy.
And Josh Hampton looks to be the fresher fighter. And across the way, Donnie Wade's fans are getting up and booing. Divided crowd here.
Wonderful.
Donnie Wade looks to be tired. You get a 1 minute break in between rounds. This is the second round of what is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds.
If they can focus on their breathing, they should be able to recover. It looks like Josh Hampton has recovered. And sometimes carrying around a muscular frame can drain you of oxygen. Sometimes that softer body has more legs in it. It can be confusing.
Josh Hampton in the red. I'm sorry, Josh Hampton in the blue gloves. Donnie Wade in the red. Hampton with the teeth. And Donnie Wade's on fumes to start this second round.
Of course, anything can happen with heavyweights. With heavyweights, you have big meat hooks throwing at each other. But it does appear that one fighter has checked out of this moment.
Donnie Wade's down. Josh Hampton's finished Donnie Wade. It's a big finish for Josh Hampton. And that was a big finish for Josh Hampton as he came out, threw some big punches.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look at the finish, Darren.
What you're seeing is not only the strikes, but a decision to approach the fight one way and a decision to approach the fight the other way. One guy decided, I'm tired too, but it's time to win. The other guy decided, I'm going to cover up and eat this.
And there's some good knees
That's simple.
there. Good knees in the clinch.
And that's a choice knockdown. He was not knocked down by force. That's a choice. Got to keep it honest.
Absolutely. Josh Hampton with the big win. We sent it up to Nick Hahn to make this one official.
At 30 seconds in round number 2, declaring your winner by TKO, Josh Warhammer Hampton.
I'm here with the Warhammer. That was an exciting round and a half. First of all, how do you feel?
I feel great.
Could you go 3 more?
Probably 2 more.
Right, let's not get carried away, right? That was an exhausting first round. At what point did you feel like you were the fresher fighter and you were going to have an advantage in the cardio department?
When it hit, I mean, I train 2 times a day, every day. When it hit me, I knew he hit me as hard as he could. It didn't hurt. So I knew I had it then.
Now he had your back. He had your back at the end, at the beginning of the first round. Did you feel like you were in trouble at any point?
No, I'm not good on the ground, but I work hard on my ground defense to get back up to strike.
That was a great win. You got a lot of fans here. Who would you like to thank?
All my family, friends, everyone from Strike Fitness MMA, my coaches, Octagon Fight Team for sponsoring me. I love all you guys with all my heart.
Guys, keep it going. One more time for the victorious Warhammer.
Heavyweight #1 contender fight. Will Duffy taking on Aaron Garrett.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the fighter out of the red corner, Will Duffy.
Darren, I had to stop and grab a Formula O2 natural recovery drink. Drink02.com is the website. Feel free to stop by and support the sponsors who support the OFC. Drink02.com. And there is the man headed to the cage. It's the Irish animal, Will Duffy. comes in with a record of 5-3. VO2 Fitness in Newark, Ohio, and the Cobra Kai Muay Thai gyms.
And he is repping that Muay Thai history, wearing the traditional Muay Thai headband to enter the competition. Very, very proud of his martial arts background.
He's also very proud that he just received his second stripe on his white belt. He's been practicing jiu-jitsu for 7 years.
Jiu-jitsu is a frustrating martial art in terms of the promotion. So 2 stripes on the white belt could mean anything. It could mean that like at their school they have a standard where you've got to tap out blue belts to get a stripe. So maybe he's a very, very tough grappler.
Will Duffy, very heavy hands, comes in with a record of 5-3. But you are only as good as your competition. And when you look at the 3 losses, they're to some of the best amateur heavyweights in the state of Ohio. Nick Stuff, Jordan Beverly, Tim Dunn are his 3 losses. Combined, those 3 fighters have a combined amateur record of 22-6. Will Duffy is in the cage. This is a big, big fight for the big man, the Irish Animal. We send up to Nick Hahn to bring out his opponent.
And his opponent out of the blue corner, Aaron Garrett.
Veteran heavyweight Aaron Garrett, only 29 years old, from Lima, Ohio, representing Buckeye MMA. As we take a look at the tail of the tape, see how the 2 heavyweights match up, Darren.
We see a large height advantage in favor of Aaron Garrett. Let's see him use that along with his experience and slight weight advantage to keep this fight at a distance where he can win the fight by strikes.
Garrett with a record of 8-5. He's 1-1 in 2014. He's looking to end on a high note. It was a 3-year layoff prior to that. Garrett also has 6 Muay Thai fights with a record of 4-2. Look for the overhand right. He does a lot of fun things in the cage. When I mean fun, things you don't see as a heavyweight. He'll use the cage to his advantage.
Absolutely.
Supercharged Superman punches, spinning back fists. He also has Dave McKinney and Don the Magic Wand in his corner. These are things that are hard to overcome and can only be measured when you go to bluegrassmma.com. Send up to Nick Hahn for the official introductions.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for our co-main event of the evening? This fight is 3 3-minute rounds to determine the #1 contender for the OFC Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter with an MMA record of 5 wins, 3 losses. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 253 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Cobra Kai VO2 Fitness Brick Wall, Will the Irish Animal Duffy! And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a Muay Thai fighter with an MMA record of 8 wins and 5 losses. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 262 pounds. Fighting out of Lima, Ohio, Aaron, nothing but A.G. Garrett! And when the action begins, your referee is Brent Bullock.
It's time for the #1 contender matchup in the heavyweight division. Brent Bullock,
Touch
take it
gloves,
away.
guys. Listen to me at all times. Protect yourself at all times. We'll have a good, clean fight, guys.
Will Duffy in the green, Aaron Garrett in the white, Ryan Cavanaugh along with Darren Branch at OFC 23. 2 experienced fighters. Aaron Garrett, I think perhaps the only fighter in Ohio to ever fight in 6 weight classes. He's now made his home in the heavyweight. Outside leg kick by Garrett opens the action. Duffy, Garrett checks it. And you see how comfortable Garrett is with the tie standing. Inside leg kick from Garrett. Outside from Duffy lands.
Really trying to keep that length as a factor, using his jab, using that leg kick with the lead leg. He doesn't want to let Duffy break inside of that guard.
Solid outside leg kick by Garrett too. Outside leg kick, both fighters You know, they acknowledge that each has heavy hands. There's a right from Garrett, and they're both being very patient. Not wanting to make a mistake, because a mistake against either man could end up with you looking up at the lights.
Absolutely. In the heavyweight division, you can get knocked out with just a single punch. It's very common. So you might see these guys be a little more conservative and respect each other's ability to create a knockout.
Duffy closes the distance. Garrett doing a nice job. Takedown defense, pushing that head away.
Killing the head is super important in this position, but he also has to be careful not to get his hip pulled away from the cage.
Will Duffy on top. Amateur, three-minute rounds. We've hit the midpoint of round number 1.
Half guard position for Mr. Duffy on top. Landing little short body shots, maintaining the position, not doing a lot of damage, but certainly controlling the position.
It's always interesting when you get fighters with this level of experience, the calm that takes place inside the cage. Aaron Garrett looks as if he's laying on a beach right now, but he's got
Absolutely.
a large man on top trying to finish him.
Well, we have about 20 fights between the two men, so I would expect to see this level of calm, this level of technique in a fight like this.
Duffy with the arm, look at him working the left hand.
He's looking to lock onto his own wrist and lock up a Kimura. A difficult position to finish from half guard, but entirely possible. It could happen.
And Garrett explodes, looking to get up. Will Duffy just covering him up, and again grabbing that wrist to Garrett.
Garrett needs to turn in and face this man. He's trying to turn away from him, which is making it difficult for him to stand up. If he turns into him, he has a much better chance of being successful.
Duffy lands some good rights.
He should really turn into him right now.
Duffy now landing some heavy leather.
Short time in the round, 10 seconds. He's grabbed a gift wrap type position, pinning the arm around the neck like that. Dominance from the top.
And Garrett's, not taking a whole lot of damage here. That's the end of round number 1. It looked good. Looked like Duffy was staying active, but I'm not sure there was a whole lot of power behind it, nor were too many of those getting in clean.
I agree. I don't think that Aaron is rocked right now, but he certainly lost that round on control.
Correct. And there's Jamie letting us know it's round number 2. Jamie's been almost as quiet as the judges in this card. Not as quiet, but
It has a very easy night to be a ring girl.
Right. An interesting first round, Darren. As we look at Aaron Garrett, and we're going to see what does he need to do in the second round.
Well, he was very effective when he was keeping him at a distance, using his jab, especially since he's a southpaw. That right jab is difficult to counter. Using that lead left leg kick, that was very intelligent. It was working for the first half of the round. But once he got put on his back, a weakness was exposed. Look for him to exploit that same weakness in the second round.
And as for the Irish Animal, Duffy, as we take a look at the first round, was this the move that really turned it in his favor?
Absolutely. And then you see that Aaron isn't really turning towards the man, not really trying to get the underhook. In fact, he ends up turning away from him. There you see him move his hips in the right direction for a brief moment. But shortly thereafter, he started turning away, making it very difficult for himself.
Round number 2, scheduled for 3, heavyweight action. This is the number 1 contender matchup for the amateur heavyweight title at OFC. On the left of your screen's Aaron Garrett in the white. Will Duffy in the green as he enters your screen. Ryan Kavanaugh along with Darren Branch. Outside leg kick by Duffy. Aaron Garrett switching his stance a little bit.
Going conventional now instead of southpaw.
Outside
Still
leg
throwing that deep leg kick.
Garrett trying to bait him, and there's a quick right hand and another. And Garrett lands on Duffy, and I think he hurt him with one of those punches coming in.
I agree. You can see there's a seasoned striker in Aaron Garrett. But he has to be able to keep him at a distance to be effective. We've seen how effective he can be, but he has to have the range to do so.
It's real hard when he's trying to do the hammer fist with the right, but he's got to reach across his body, and Duffy looking to take him for a ride. Duffy's hands are not clenched, and they almost look like he's just hanging out, waiting to explode.
He's still thinking about locking his hands and pulling him away from the cage.
And Duffy's been opened up. You see the blood on the shorts of Garrett?
Yes,
and
there's
the
a
blood
lot
on
of
the
blood.
ground. I believe the nose of Duffy's been busted. How's the takedown defense of Garrett?
Right now his takedown defense is good, but it's being helped by the fact that Mr. Duffy is grabbing an improper leg. He's grabbing the wrong leg right now. But it all worked out.
Gets a takedown, and now the blood of the face of Duffy is going to become a factor because it's going to get all over Garrett.
Absolutely.
We're halfway through the round again. And again, Aaron Garrett finds himself underneath Will Duffy.
Utilize that butterfly hook.
And what do you mean by utilize the butterfly hook?
Elevate this man, turn into this man, and change the position. Pushing away with your arms when you have a leg underneath a human being, what's stronger, your arms or your legs?
It's usually your legs. Will Duffy, good ground and pound right now.
And he's demonstrated control, but there's really nothing on his strikes at all.
I was just going to say, Darren, it looks better than it actually is as far as damage goes. There's not a whole lot behind these punches.
Absolutely.
But in the eyes of the judges.
Guard pass. Now that Kimura could be more dangerous. If he can lock his hand on his own wrist underneath the arm of Aaron Garrett, he may have a submission opportunity there.
Will Duffy with one win by sub, and Aaron Garrett, 3 of his 5 losses were by submission.
Aaron needs to look for an underhook with that arm. He keeps getting it pinned to the floor. If he can hug this man with that underhook, he can use it to turn into him and get back up. This rolling away stuff is getting him held.
20 seconds in the first round. Will Duffy still in side control, trying to work the hand and the wrist of Aaron Garrett.
He's looking to turn the arm over and go for an Americana or a key lock now.
Round 2 in the books. Will Duffy ends up on top, and we see the damage to the face of Will Duffy. Darren, I am putting you on the spot again through 2 rounds. How do you have this fight scored?
2018, Will Duffy, easy rounds to score.
And, there's certainly, you'd have to give the damage factor to Aaron Garrett as we look at some of his handiwork here.
Absolutely. He did a beautiful job in the beginning of the round, but once the distance was closed, he didn't have an answer to open the distance back up. And without the ability to create space, it doesn't matter that you're a superior striker. You're just a person on their back getting hit.
Once again, it was the takedown of Will Duffy and then his ability to control position. Keep Aaron Garrett down, that was the difference. I'd have to agree with you. And here's some of that ground and pound right here.
Yes, and it's not the most damaging ground and pound that you or I have ever witnessed. But what he's doing is he's controlling the position. He keeps on top, he doesn't get reversed, there's no danger of being reversed, and he consistently stays busy. It's difficult for the referee to stand you up when you're punching your opponent in his face.
Well put. And he's stayed active enough where you wouldn't consider a stand-up. We're set for the 3rd and final round, heavyweight division. On the line is a shot at heavyweight champ in the amateur ranks of OFC, Chris Settles. Brent Bullock, 3rd man in the cage. Aaron Garrett in the white. Will Duffy in the green. 3 minutes decided. Aaron Garrett may need a stoppage.
I think he absolutely needs a stoppage.
Duffy again.
He can't stay here. If he expects to win, he needs to move his body away from this cage.
Well, he certainly can't get taken down, but again, Duffy looking to use the far leg on the takedown.
Which is an awkward technique, but it seems to be successful for him. But in general, it's a very difficult technique to complete. Now Garrett digging for the guillotine. Looking to connect his hands here. This would be a good time for Aaron Garrett to strip the grips with his hands and circle off the cage. There's a lot of space there.
And Will Duffy's just eating up a minute of this 3rd and final round. Referee separates the fighters. Aaron Garrett playing a little possum, trying to bait him in.
He doesn't have time for this. He needs to start going to work right away, setting up a way to finish this fight.
Garrett, that leg kick had a lot less steam on it than it did before.
Much less. I like to see him pump a few jabs.
Aaron Garrett trying to get the crowd behind him, but he's got to get the hands.
Pump a few jabs and then throw that big left straight down the pipe and see if magical things happen.
Will Duffy, and there's a good right jabbing back fist from Aaron Garrett. And look at him putting his chin out there as if to say, come on and hit me.
He believes that if he can get the guy to open up, that he can create an opportunity for sure. He's trying to bait him. It's not necessarily the most unintelligent way, but it doesn't need to be successful.
He's got a minute to work. And Will Duffy right now is content to just stand in front of him. A big right hand by Garrett.
Will Duffy is in a fight that he's winning. He really doesn't have to do anything besides survive.
And Aaron Garrett's frustrated with the game plan employed by Will Duffy. And again, looking to take the outside leg as Garrett lands some big shots.
He made up a new technique. It worked before. Now it's not having as much success.
And Garrett looking frustrated. He needs to get Duffy off of him. But you know, Will Duffy just leaning on Aaron Garrett at this point in the third round.
That's true, but demonstrating frustration isn't really doing anything active to change your position.
Good shots by Garrett. Good right and an uppercut.
See, this is the kind of flurry he needed earlier on.
And good finish for Aaron Garrett. Aaron Garrett gets up and jogs around, both fighters with their hands in the air.
Well, if Aaron Garrett is referring to that round, I think he could say he won that round. If he's referring to the fight as a whole, I think he should put his hands down.
Fighters embrace. My partner has it 29-28.
I would say 29-28, Will Duffy.
And we're going to take a look at this third and final round. And this is Aaron Garrett trying to bait Will Duffy into a fist fight. And Will Duffy, perhaps believing he's up 2-1, perhaps a little tired,